Today, we're going to be talking about the worst top 10 starting pitcher list ever made. This list right here, written by Bill James. My problems aren't with 1 through 5 and Garrett Cole. My problems are with Robbie Ray, Julio Urias, Zach Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez. Like, these guys are not top 10 starting pitchers. Just to start with guys that aren't in this list are the easy ones. You got Shane Bieber, not mentioned. Brandon Woodruff, not mentioned. Uh, those are some guys that really need to be on this list. They're just better pitchers than these other guys. And then some of these guys, like, if you want to say they're top, they're not, like, you can make the argument, oh, he's top 10, well, he's top 20 for me. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys are close. Like, outside of the top five, everyone knows who's an elite starting pitcher in Major League Baseball and who's that next group of pitchers. But then you get into the rankings, like, how is DeGrom at 5? Like, this guy absolutely dominated all season long while he was healthy, and I don't know how he did this. I didn't watch him make it. I'm not sure how much health has an effect on it, but if health has a big effect on it, how is Max Scherzer that higher than Jacob DeGrom? Like, both these guys have had injury issues in their past, and when healthy, DeGrom is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. The tear he was on to start the season was absolutely insane. And another big problem I have is Robbie Ray being slotted ahead of Garrett Cole. I know Ray won the AL Cy Young ahead of Garrett Cole, but not a lot of people were in agreement on that. Like, a lot of the advanced statistics had Garrett Cole favored compared to Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray had a really good season, and it was fair to give him the award just because you don't always give it to the same guy. Cole's won Cy Young before, Robbie Ray hasn't. But as far as the better pitcher, especially a list that we're making coming into the season, how are you going to tell me Robbie Ray's ahead of Garrett Cole? Like, these two are on completely different levels, completely different styles of pitching. Garrett Cole is much more dominant, where Robbie Ray relies heavily on his slider. Garrett Cole will throw 100-mile-an-hours right down the middle, and you can't touch it because he's just going to blow it right past you. Some more guys worth noting that aren't on the list, along with Brandon Woodruff and Shane Bieber, are guys like another Milwaukee pitcher, Freddie Peralta. Lance Lynn, I like to think, is better than Robbie Ray, in my opinion, just based off stats and just watching him pitch. Aaron Nola's in the conversation, like the 10 to 15 range, or I'd say 8 to 15 range, where you can make the argument where they are. Kevin Gossman, another guy who had a really good season, and he's coming off of, and some of the Oakland pitchers, Frankie Montas was really good this season. And just guys that we know that have really good stuff that maybe aren't have fell off a little bit, like Chris Sale, Clayton Kershaw, those type of guys, like guys that were on the list and fell off. I think still some of them are ahead of some of the guys that are on here. Like, I'm not big on Julio Urias and Robbie Ray. Definitely not on Ranger Suarez. Zach Wheeler, you can make the argument for, and even Robbie Ray with his award, you can make the argument for. But Ranger Suarez on this list at all, like, this dude is not that good of a pitcher. Like, if you look at any sort of ranking list, Ranger Suarez doesn't show up well past the top 10. Like, there's so many guys that you can mention that I think you would take over Ranger Suarez. The fact that Ranger Suarez is on this list, especially listed at 10, makes you think Ranger Suarez did it. Looking at a ranking of pitchers per just projections, Ranger Suarez is ranked at 57. Like, he's listed next to guys like Alex Wood, Patrick Sandoval, and Adam Wainwright. That is far different from being slotted 1 behind Zach Wheeler and 3 behind Garrett Cole. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that, like, that's almost my biggest issue with this list is Ranger Suarez. If I'm doing this list, I think number 1, I got to go DeGrom just from what you've seen him do when he's healthy. I think number 2, Scherzer is fine with me. Number 3, I'm going to go Corbin Burns. Number 4, I think Brandon Woodruff should be up there. Those Milwaukee pitchers were amazing this season. And the fact that he's on the list, let alone out of the top 5, is interesting. I'd put Garrett Cole at 5, Walker Buehler at 6, at 7, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is where it gets interesting. This is where I'm like, okay, whoever you want to throw in here works for me. At 7, I'll go Shane Bieber. At 8, this is where it gets tough. Like, so many guys would be like, yeah, if he's your number 8, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? At 8, I don't know. At 8, I'll go Freddie Peralta, the third Milwaukee pitcher. Just the Milwaukee's pitching was so dominant this season. At 9, I like Max Fried a lot. He's really good for Atlanta. And at 10, I'll go Zach Wheeler. He had another good season for Philly. He's been very impressive since leaving the Mets. So as far as my list goes compared to his list, I think it's just Like really, the top nine aren't terrible. It's really just that 10 ranking. Like Ranger Suarez is a guy that's not even top 60 to some people, you know. So the fact that you're having him in his top 10 is very questionable. And just the order of the other nine, I guess we'll say, like to say Robbie Ray's better than Garrett Cole is, I have a problem with that. And even say Riley's better than Urias and Wheeler, two guys that I also think are really good. And to say Fried and Bueller are ahead of DeGrom, Scherzer and Burns, that's fair, but especially Scherzer being on the same team, like, does anybody make the argument that in a Game 7 must win that you're going to throw Max Scherzer over Jacob DeGrom? Like, if they're both ready to go, like, Jacob DeGrom is the guy that if he's ready to pitch, you pitch him. He's the best pitcher in baseball. And I think if you're making a top 10 starting pitcher list right now, you number one is the easiest part of it. It's Jacob DeGrom. So seeing him all the way at 5 is shocking, and this list is just absolutely terrible. Bill James, man, what are you doing?